Hey, everybody, welcome. Rob here for our BSPU call. I hope you're excited to talk about booking speaking engagements. If you're not, then you're probably not going to enjoy the call because that is what we're going to be talking about today. I have talked about this subject matter a number of different times. Even recently, Amy and I have done some teaching on it, especially those of you who came in during the challenge. However, I'm going to go a little bit deeper today. I'm actually going to do some hands-on stuff so I can show you what you need to do. I'm going to give you like a checklist of tools, if you will. So I think you'll find it really valuable. I'm not going to talk about the simple system for speaking engagements because if you want to watch that, you can go to the BSP members area that you guys all have access to, and you can watch that anytime. That's basically, how you target and what you send, a copy of your book, how you send it, and then setting up a system to do this to get yourself booked. That's what Amy did. Amy Dix, who, booked herself for 97 speaking engagements, paid engagements over an 18-month period. And Amy and I are working on some really cool stuff. Maybe I'll open it up and share it with you guys towards the end if you're interested in that. So what I want to do is I want to take some time. I want to kind of go through the steps and share with you exactly what it is that, kind of step by step that you need to do. So before we dive into all of that, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen for the whole thing, but I'm going to share my screen. So let's dive right into the content. We're going to talk about how to book speaking engagements. I'm going to do a little bit different content than I've done before because there's a lot of content in the BSP area on booking yourself for speaking engagements. So you can go and read that anytime, of course, that you want. But I want to go just a little bit deeper. Let's see, a few of you are commenting. Chris says, I'll review it. Thank you, Chris. Lisa says, we'll download and review it. Thank you, Lisa. Please comment below that post. Victoria says she's going to do it. Craig is happy to do it as well. Thank you for doing that for George. And of course, we will help you guys out when it's your turn or you need reviews also. Don, Will, and Justin, you guys are fantastic. Thank you. So let's dive in. Let's talk first about tools that are needed to book yourself for paid speaking engagements. Or when I say paid, the assumption is that, you're speaking in front of your ideal audience. And sure, maybe they're writing you a check and that's always great. That's what Amy likes to do. Or you're speaking in front of your ideal clients, and because they're your ideal clients, they're the ones that are writing you checks, however that works. And so, I just wanted to mention, there are some things that you need to have in place to get yourself, great opportunities for speaking. And if you don't have these things in place, then the first thing you should do is get them in place. Now, I have as number one your best-selling book. I mean, that goes without saying, but some of you, haven't gotten your book completed yet. You're still in the process of that. Your book is the most important tool that you have to book yourself, to show yourself as an authority in your space, and to book yourself for great paid speaking engagements. So I hope you're already motivated to get your book done. But if you need a little additional motivation, then that is. Now, should you not try to get yourself speaking engagements because your book isn't completed? I don't know that I'd go that far, but I will say that you probably will not book yourself for the kind of quality speaking engagements that you probably would like without having your book ready and your book kind of framing you as the expert. Now, if you're just getting into the speaking game and maybe you've never done a paid speaking engagement, or maybe you've spoken many times, but never as a paid speaker or some version of that, great. Then what you should do is you should get started on these other tools as quickly as possible so that you have these things kind of checked off. And then, yes, start working on booking yourself for some opportunities in speaking engagements because, look, it's a good idea to really be clear on what you're going to be speaking about. And, to make sure that you have, a great speech and great content and, some great testimonials and social media, social proof, et cetera, to use on your website, et cetera. So tools needed, obviously your best-selling book. Number two, a speaker site or at least a page on your website that highlights you as a speaker, okay? A speaker site, meaning a dedicated site. I think Amy's dedicated speaker site is something like amythespeaker.com or something like that. If you don't want to build out an entire site, then at the very least, you should have a dedicated page on your website to you as a speaker. Now, what should be on that page? Well, you can do a couple of searches of your favorite speakers and look at what their web pages or their speaker sites are like, and you'll get plenty of details of what you should have. But clearly, you should have examples of you speaking. Now, if there's someone that says, well, I've never spoken before in front of a group. Well, then, you probably need to either take some photos of you mimicking you speaking in front of a crowd, or you should bring a videographer or photographer and get yourself booked for some speaking opportunities as quickly as possible so that you can get some professional photos or even great iPhone photos for your speaker site. So some examples of you speaking, obviously social proof, so testimonials, what people are saying. If you have any video of people, if you don't have video, then, something that is, a great written testimonial from them. Obviously, if you have anything on social media, you should copy and paste it, right? Like cut it, and then you can use that within your website. All you're trying to do is show your authority as a speaker. So either a full speaker site or at least a web page. Now, let me suggest this. I am not giving you a deep dive into how to build a speaker site because there's a lot to share in this, 30 minutes or however long. So if what I shared with you isn't enough for you to go on, then just Google it. Just Google, how do I build a speaker website, or, good examples of speaker sites, and you'll find tons and tons, and then just model what you see, either having somebody build it out for you, or if you're talented to build it out yourself. Talented in that way, of course, because I am not talented in that way. Number three, a speaker one sheet, Now, we do one sheets for some of our authors, those that are in our PR program. And they're a little bit different, though. Our segment proposals or one sheets have some of the same elements to get like a TV appearance as it does to get a speaker appearance. But obviously, there are some differences. The number one most important thing on your speaker one sheet is the hook. That's the number one most important thing. If you have a boring title for your speech or speeches, they're not going to watch it. It's just like having a great hook for the title of your book. You need to get people's attention and capture their attention for them to want to take the next step with you. So you need a great hook, and to develop a great hook for not for you personally, but for the speeches that you can give and the examples of those things, because that's what you're going to have primarily on your speaker one sheet. So you need great hooks, right? You need titles of your speeches that just, are curiosity provoking and interesting and, make them stop in their tracks. Okay. So, Amy, by the way, Amy is going to do a more full training on this for those of you that were in the challenge. And even if you're not in the challenge, if you're a done for you BSP client, then you're going to have access to this down the road on how to create a great hook. But I have a lot of training on how to create a great hook for media, and it's the same idea, right? Number four, you should have some type of video of you speaking. Obviously, that means that, this should be for, in particular, somebody that has already been speaking. If you haven't, then that's the first thing that you need to think about doing, because they're going to want to see you in action, ideally. And or video or written testimonials. Now, that is similar to what I talked about you needing on your site. So number four is kind of a continuation of number two. Video of you should be on your speaker site. Testimonials of the great speech that you gave should be on your webpage or speaker site as well. Okay, so those are the tools that you need. Those are things that you should, if you don't have those things in place and you want to speak, then you need to start setting up those things now. Okay, I don't know how to build a speaker site. All right, so Google it. If you need some help and you need some direction, we have some people that we can direct to you that can help you to build sites. We do some of that stuff, but not very much. And it might be a few $1,000s to have it done. Or if you can build it yourself, then fantastic, build it yourself. But if you don't have that, start working on it. If you don't have a one sheet, if you don't have a great hook for the various speeches that you can give, then start working on that. And it's just like creating a great title, which I've shared about 100 different times, right, on how to do that. If you have an audience of people that are the kind of people that would be potentially hiring you to speak, then ask them, do you like this title or this title? Do you like me to call this speech this or this, right? Just get some feedback, find out what people think about what you're creating. Okay, so your book, number one, your speaker site, your speaker one sheet, and then it would be fantastic for you to have video of you as well as video testimonies.